Hey, welcome to the Weekly Wave. All right, let's talk about something we're all guilty of at some point or another. Taking something good and just completely overdoing it. Too much of a good thing. It's like when you start watching a TV show, and before you know it, you've lost your entire weekend, your sleep schedule is completely ruined, and Netflix has the audacity to ask, are you still watching? And yes, Netflix, yes I am, and I regret absolutely nothing. Until Monday morning rolls around. But this goes beyond just binge watching Netflix. This is about how balance, or the lack of it, can turn something amazing into a big problem. So today we're going to be breaking it down. How too much of a good thing can backfire, why we do it, and how to create a healthier balance in life. Now, let's get nerdy for a second. The science behind it. Our brains love pleasure. When we enjoy something, whether it's food, social media, or even working out, our brain releases dopamine, that feel-good chemical. But the problem is that we're wired to chase that dopamine hit, even at the expense of our well-being and our health. Let's take food, for example. All right? Eating is great. I think that should be my life motto. Eating delicious food is even better. But too much of it, that's when we start to feel sluggish, we develop unhealthy habits, and we start to question every life decision we've ever made. And this isn't just about junk food. Too much of even healthy foods can cause some problems. Have you ever eaten way too much fruit, and then suddenly you're rethinking your entire fiber intake and making way too many emergency bathroom runs? Yeah, kind of like that. Now, here's the tricky part. This is the subtle trap of good, quote-unquote, habits. Sometimes we think that we're making great choices, but we don't realize we're tipping the scales into excess. So, take productivity, for example. Being productive is fantastic, but ever feel like you're constantly busy, yet you're really not getting anywhere? That's because too much productivity can lead to burnout. It's like trying to drive a car at 100 miles per hour all the time. You're either going to run out of gas or you're going to crash horribly. Or fitness. Exercise is essential, but if you overtrain, your body starts breaking down instead of building up. Trust me, I have firsthand experience with this one. Injuries, fatigue, and even mental exhaustion creep in. And that's why even professional athletes have rest days. They understand that recovery is just as important as training. Now, don't even get me started on the NBA and their rest days, because I think, in my opinion, they're a little soft, but you get my point. This moves into my next point about the slippery slope of entertainment and social media as a whole. I think entertainment is necessary. We all need an escape. But the way we consume it today, we're kind of overstimulated. Social media, video games, YouTube, the endless scrolling features, these things aren't bad in moderation. But when they start replacing the real-life experiences, we got a big problem. I've made countless videos on this in the past, but have you ever noticed how social media just makes time disappear? 1 second, you're just checking a notification, and then the next, it's 2 hours later, and you're knee-deep into a video essay about why 18th century shipbuilding techniques were way ahead of their time. Trust me, I know that by real first-hand experience. It's not just wasted time, but it's also our attention span shrinking. Our ability to focus, to be present, and engage in deep thinking is getting weaker and weaker because we're constantly jumping from one dopamine hit to the next. Now, this next one is kind of about workaholism, kind of hustle culture, when success becomes way too self-destructive. We've glorified the grind so much that we sometimes forget to live. Working hard is great. I actually encourage it, and I stand behind it 100% because I think it builds your character. And chasing goals is even more amazing. But working so much that you neglect your health, relationships, and happiness, that's a disaster waiting to happen. And again, I've learned from this firsthand. People brag about working 80-hour weeks like it's a badge of honor. But at what cost? You're going to burn yourself out, you're going to have a lot more stress, and overall, your mental health is going to suffer. There is a reason why some of the most successful people in the world prioritize rest, sleep, and reflection. You can't pour out from an empty cup. Even relationships, which are arguably one of the best things in life, can become overwhelming when we lack balance. Too much time with a partner can lead to codependency. The healthiest relationships allow both people to grow as individuals while still being together. If you're sacrificing your personal growth, your personal friendships, and your personal mental peace for the sake of a relationship, you're in a very dangerous territory. And friendships too. Being a great friend is important, but being available 24/7 at the drop of a hat, consistently fixing everyone else's problems and putting yourself last, that's not a friendship at the end of the day. That's self-neglect. So how do we fix this? How do we find balance? How do we keep good things from turning bad? First, you got to set boundaries, not restrictions. They're two different things. Instead of completely cutting some things out, you got to set some limits. You love playing video games? Great. Play them, but maybe don't let it take priority over sleep and work. If you love social media, cool, but set screen time limits and actually stick to them. Don't just say ignore for the day. Hit OK when, that notification pops up. Second, you got to prioritize quality over quantity. More isn't always better. A few hours of deep, focused work is better than 10 hours of scattered, unfocused efforts. A well-planned workout is way better than spending 5 hours in the gym just aimlessly walking around and talking to people. Be intentional with how you spend your time. Third, you got to listen to your mind and body. If you're feeling drained, something is off. Pay attention to your energy levels throughout the day. If too much of a good thing is making you feel worse instead of better, then that's your signal to kind of take a step back and rethink things. And lastly, and I think the most important, embrace the art of doing absolutely nothing. Today, on social media and just in life in general, we glorify being busy. But there's power in resting, taking a break, stepping away, and allowing your mind to wander is actually productive in the long run. It refreshes creativity, improves your mental clarity, and ultimately keeps you from burning out. At the end of the day, life is all about balance. We live in a world that consistently pushes us to do more, consume more, spend more, be more. But real fulfillment doesn't come from excess. It comes from intentionality. So whether it's work, entertainment, fitness, or even self-improvement, remember, more isn't always better. The goal isn't to eliminate things you enjoy, it's to make sure that they actually add value to your life instead of taking over your life. Give yourself permission to slow down, to rest, and to step away when needed, because sometimes the best way to move forward is finding the right balance. Thank you so much for listening.